take you through a 5-minute recap of what we saw during our last class. We had seen about the different types of enzymes which our body and our digestive system secretes for facilitating the digestion of our food. The main enzymes are like the saliva from the salivary glands which go into the mouth, and then after that the gastric juice which contains the acid and pepsin kind of things that is done in the stomach, and the other thing is the bile that is secreted by the liver. We also saw the importance of the bile and why is it very important, and why the liver is very important for digestion, and the pancreatic juice which is also secreted inside the duodenum by the pancreas, and the mucus. I told the importance of the mucus which from the esophagus and then the stomach and the small intestine and large intestine, and why they all secrete everything to protect themselves and also to provide lubrication for the food to pass through the digestive system right to the anus without any congestion or any difficulty. And the next thing, we went to the first major macronutrient, which was the carbohydrates. And why is it very important? Because it is the basic form which gives us the glucose, which is the most basic form of the component which provides energy for our body and for each of our cells. And so it is present in all the pulses and the whole grains which we eat. They provide the starch and sugar. They are all complex forms which break down into starch and sugar, which the cells and our body uses for further energy production. And we saw why the carbohydrates generates uric acid levels, because glucose and fructose are the basic components which constitute the carbohydrates, and the processing of fructose releases uric acid levels, and that why most of our diet like rice and all contain a lot of fructose and purines which lead to high levels of uric acid. So we should take only optimum amount of the component for our own health and safety, and it is measured in grams. The next thing, we saw that what happens when we take high amounts of sugar. The healing of the wounds becomes late when there is a lot of sugar in our blood, and also it increases the chances of diabetes. Type 1 is insulin shortage, and the second type 2 is the how the body utilizes the insulin. That also we had seen, because the immune system starts destroying the insulin and it is not utilized by the body for energy conversion. We also saw that the excess sugar which is there in the body is either excreted through the kidneys or it is stored in the liver as fat, which leads to the which is also a reason for fatty liver. And we saw that the blood sugar level increases, and we saw what is the glycemic index. And taking too much of carbohydrates can lead to constipation, gas, and even bloating. And the next thing, we saw why it happens, why the healing of wounds gets delayed when there is a lot of sugar in the blood. We saw that the sugar molecules occupy a lot of space in the blood and decreases the density for other molecules like oxygen and essential proteins and white blood cells. So when there is less of oxygen, your cells cannot rejuvenate them or repair themselves. So this leads to delaying of the healing of wounds. And the next thing is the glycemic index. We saw what happens when there is high glycemic index and low glycemic index, that this one is readily available in an open form in the form of glucose. And the other thing, the glucose is very present inside, and it is a very complicated process, and one by one, after breaking down, only then the body will reach to the glucose. So it gives a steady release of glucose in a slow and steady manner whenever an energy is required. While the high glycemic index, in a short span of time, it will release all the sugar into the blood, and your blood sugar level will go to a dangerous level of point. And then we saw the graph what high glycemic index food does and what low glycemic index food does. And the next thing, we saw about fats. The fats, what are the essential functions of the fats? Because for main thing is the fat soluble vitamins. They are absorbed by the fat content in your body like A, D, and E. And then after that, apart from nutrition absorption, we saw that they are essential for maintaining the body temperature, because the skin fat beneath the skin, it keeps us and it provides insulation to your body. So we saw hilly region people and cold region living people need more fat than the normal people living in tropical regions. And the next thing is for energy conversion. We saw the fat that is stored in the liver and inside the and within the muscles, they are used for fat conversion when there is no carbohydrate or sugar, when the body requires energy. So the fat is then converted into energy. For that we need fat. We saw the three types of fats: saturated, unsaturated, and trans fats. Saturated fats are like in most are in the solid state at room temperature, and unsaturated fats are in liquid temperature. In a liquid state at room temperature, like your sesame oil and your peanut oil, groundnut oil, etc. Trans fats, we obtain them by processing the vegetable oil. They take the form of butter. They are also called as dalda and vanaspati. They are all the main types of trans fats. They are very, very dangerous because they are being processed, and they contain a lot of the molecules called as polyglycerides, which are very dangerous for your body organs. Fat is also measured in grams. And we saw what are the main components. Like for the saturated fat, it's like coconut oil, ghee and cheese are saturated, and peanut oil, canola oil, or olive oil, and all the oil that is in a liquid format is unsaturated. And we saw the too much fat can get deposited inside your blood vessels, causing your heart blocks and blood vessel blocks, and it can cause damage to your liver because it keeps storing the fat within itself. And also the obesity, it will lead to obesity. And the next major nutrient for today's class, which we'll be seeing, is the protein. Indian diet and most of the Asian diets constitute a lot of protein because we use tofu, paneer, and dal, and a lot of grams and pulses in our daily cooking. So for a very normal being in Asia, apart from like very specific regions like USA and all, they have a lot of carbohydrates and fats. But our diet, it usually has the more than required amount of protein for a normal person, unless or until you're doing a lot of physical work, or like you work, your work is constitutes a lot of weightlifting and a lot of hard physical work. Only then your protein level will be determined if it is sufficient or not. So the essential thing for protein is that the essential function is for tissue repair. The proteins are broken down into amino acids as I have listed there. The proteins get broken down into amino acids. The amino acids are then transferred to the cells where the repair is required. The amino acids helps the cells to repair themselves and to produce new molecules, which then make new cells and repair the places where it is required. And proteins are the latter source of energy. Latter means the last source of energy. When there are no carbohydrates, when there are no fats, your body will next turn to protein for energy. The protein is usually stored in your muscles. The protein stored in your muscles will be converted into energy in a very complex form. The easiest form is carbohydrate, the second easiest form is fat, and the least easiest form is to convert protein to energy. That is why your body relies on protein as its last priority for energy. That is the reason you would have seen people who don't take enough carbohydrates for themselves, you will see they tend to be a lot skinnier, because your body protein present in the muscles, your muscle will start to break down, and the protein in them will start to getting utilized that for energy. So when that is happening, your muscle gain and muscle mass will start decreasing because it is being used for energy. That is why we say, for physical activity and for a lot of weightlifting and hard physical work, you have to take a lot of, the correct amount of protein required by your body. That is very important. And mainly for muscle development, people who work out, people who go for gyms, and athletic people, athletes and sports person need to take a steady amount of protein recommended. There is a specific amount for their work which they are doing, like 1 gram per 1 kilogram of your body, or like more than, like they even advise even 1.5 to 2 grams per kilogram per day of your body. That kind of that it varies a little bit for depending on the type of work which they do. And so the amino acids are the basic forms of protein which your cells and tissues utilize to repair themselves. Protein is a macronutrient, hence it is measured in grams. The next thing is that what does too much protein do to your body? Why do we talk about too much protein? Because homemakers and people with only desk works and office jobs with a lot of sitting work to be done, the regular food which you eat can have a lot of protein more than it is required. So what does your body do to push out the excess protein? That causes too much of work to your kidneys. Kidneys are the ones, like they are like the liver, they are also the ones that are filtering a lot of components in your body, right? So the excess protein is taken to the kidneys, so it has to do a lot of processing work, and the filters in the kidneys called as the renal papillae, they filter the proteins and they have to excrete it out through your urinary bladder and then through your urine. So that is the reason why when you're taking high protein diet, your urine tends to be a lot more denser, that you can feel that you need to take in a lot more water and keep yourselves regularly hydrated. And purines, like I said in the last time, purines are a basic form of components which are present in all forms of protein foods. In most of the protein foods, purine is an inevitable. It is unavoidable for purines to be present in the protein. Every food that has protein will have a certain amount of purine. The levels may vary, but they have. For example, even your rice and your dal and most of your pulses, that is like your green gram, yellow gram, dal, and your kind of what you say, the channa, that is the black channa, white channa, they also have a lot the purines. And mainly people who eat red meat, that is the ones shown in the picture. You can see my pointer, I am showing it to you here. The red meat has a lot of purines and uric acid, so that can lead to high levels of uric acid, which in turn lead to formation of gout and arthritis. Uric acid, what does it do? Again, it also raises the acidic level of your body, and your body turns to the acidic side, which can cause the other problems also. And the next thing for protein is that it slows down your digestion. As I said, like the protein is a very complex form of food, and all the foods that contain protein are very highly dense, not like your plant-based foods. They are all either very hard or very nutrition rich and very complex. So they take a lot of time to get digested. Your body, your pancreas, your stomach, and your intestines, particularly small intestines which do the absorption, they take a lot of time to process the protein, break them down to amino acids and absorb them and push them into the blood. So that is the reason why when you eat a lot of protein, you take a lot of time to digest them, and then take in your next meal for eating. You feel a little bit stuffed and you want to push your meal a little much later. And the digestion of protein, it usually occurs in the acidic state, because the basic form of protein is amino acids. So digesting them also releases a lot of acid, and a lot of acids are required to digest the protein and break them down. So when you take a lot of protein in your food, your body becomes acidic. And only when you eat a lot of other vegetables and green leafy vegetables, only then you can maintain a balance between the acidic and alkaline state of your body. When your body becomes too much acidic, first they start eating your bones, because they contain calcium, and calcium is a very alkaline component and alkaline element, so they attack it first. And when the acid level keeps raising even more, they start attacking your joints, then your organs, then your nerves, and every atom and molecule in your body. When your nerves are damaged, the signal gaps between your brains and your organs and your nervous system, when they get damaged, there's a delay in the signal, so it will start giving you a lot of other complications when your body is becoming or turning acidic. Protein is the last macronutrient, and it is also measured in grams. So then we move on to the two basic micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals. They are called as micronutrients because the amount which the body requires is not as big as your carbohydrates or fats or proteins. If they are required this much, then your body requires vitamins, minerals only in this much. Hence, your vitamins and minerals are called as micronutrients. But vitamins, the term itself specifies why it is very vital. It is very, very essential for the basic metabolism of your body, and every work which your body does requires vitamins and minerals. It can be absorption of nutrients, it can be repair of tissue, it can be for immunity, it can be for transportation through your blood system. Everything requires your vitamins and minerals, and every chemical reaction in your body, every hormonal reaction, everything contains the vitamins and minerals. Only because of them your body can synthesize and manufacture all these hormones and necessary chemical components. The basic forms of vitamins are like A, B, C, D, E, and K. The vitamin A and B, C vitamins are present in many of the fruits and green leafy vegetables. A is like in carrot, papaya, and green leafy vegetables, and B is found in a lot of meat and eggs, and D is found in calcium-rich foods, and vitamin E and K are found in a lot of like fish, and also in a lot of green leafy vegetables. Mm, and the next thing is the minerals. The main minerals which constitute in your body and also which your body requires are like, for a few examples are like calcium, iron, magnesium, potassium, zinc, phosphorus, iodine, and manganese. Most of them you can see they are all metal names. These metals are required in their atomic form, in their most basic form, so that your body can synthesize its required things. For example, your calcium is required for your bones and your bone marrow. Iron is required for hemoglobin synthesis and for red blood cells to carry the oxygen in and transport oxygen to the different parts of your body through the blood. Magnesium, potassium, zinc, and phosphorus are all required for your immunity and for hormone production. Iodine is required for your thyroid gland for producing the hormones, etc. Green leafy vegetables. As I said, all these vitamins, they are found in very specific vegetables also, but in green leafy vegetables, all of these vitamins are present in all the green leafy vegetables in specific quantities. So when you start eating a variety of green leafy vegetables, here and there you will definitely meet the necessary amount of vitamins which your body requires. And since I told vitamins and minerals are macronutrients and they require only this much, our body requires only this much, it is measured in mg, that is in milligrams. Carbohydrates, proteins, fats are measured in grams. Vitamins and minerals, your body will require them only in milligrams.